deeply opposed to crypto.
Last year, cryptocurrency funded every kind of dangerous criminal.
But I would not touch crypto in a million years.
Bitcoin is going to zero.
If I was the government, I'd close it down.
People are losing money in scams and huckster flim-flam artists.
These people who own these things should not own your money in any of those. I do think you're an idiot, okay?
It's over.
Go fuck yourself. What do you do? Why? Go fuck yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is. What do you do? Why? What do you do? Go fuck yourself.
All right, what's up, guys? Forgot to set my timer. There's all these things I don't know how to do anymore. It kind of sucks. Pretty good day today. I think I'm going to close probably close to 300,000. Might be a hair underneath of it. I don't care. It's a good day. It's like almost $350,000. I think the thing at the end of the day was Tesla. It's only up 1.93 right now. It was up like 7, 8%, maybe even almost 10% overnight with Robinhood. So this is kind of like a retracement. And I think if anything, it's probably just working to find support. We'll look over that chart in a bit. I do want to point out the MVP of the day, though. Cypher mining at 27.35%. Pretty sweet numbers. And then, again, that BITX 2X Bitcoin strategy ETF is working out pretty good, too, with an almost 20% return. CleanSpark at 15.6. ETH at 9. Flux is down by 13. Who the fuck knows what's going on with that thing, but I don't care too much. Let's see here. Robinhood up by 7. Mara up by 18. Microstrategy up by 15.5. Obviously, today had to be a Bitcoin video because that's what's really happening today. I did take a moment earlier in the day to sell a couple of contracts out of my Tesla calls when they were closer to like, I don't know, $70 a contract, which was a pretty good number. I think they're much lower than that now. And I bought some PayPal 2026 because I just can't let that die. I feel like I got to continue to suffer the PayPal train since I put so many other people through it inadvertently. All right, something else. U.S. economy. Let's go there next. So if you guys are new here, what we usually do, I go over my portfolio pretty quick. We go over macro-related items, and then from there we jump into like Bitcoin, Tesla, a number of other investments I have, and then at the end, anybody that's a member can pick a stock. I try to get through most of them so that I'm not leaving people behind for too long. But they can pick a stock, and I'll look up the fundamentals and or technicals for it and give my opinion. It's not always what people want to hear, and sometimes, I don't have all the details, but I at least try to do what I can. All right, let's start with the economy then from there. And thank you to everybody who donated memberships. Johnny, you're awesome. Thanks for doing that for $5, and the tip. And then anybody else who might have signed up. Really appreciate you guys. Great shirt. Thank you. I've been really patriotic lately. I'm going to be getting some flag stickers, too, that I hope are kind of cool on my Cybertruck. So I'm just embracing the whole truck theme and conservative theme because evidently that's what I'm turning into. Again, been there before in my life. It's just been a while. Anyway, Danny. Hey, Jesse. How are you, brother? Can you please do BITF? Yep, I'll go over that, too. Again, hey. Jesus. Them beats, bro. Yeah, I love that song. That's my buddy, little bubble. No, crypto bubble. No, little bubble. Is that right? It's been a while. Yes, little bubble, and he's awesome. He does a great job. Let's see here. Hello. How about TSLL as a hold if Tesla contracts are too expensive? You could. I mean, it's like a leverage play, right? It's kind of like what I'm doing with BITX for the Bitcoin play, the 2x leverage, right? It's something like that. I don't know what TSLL is. Maybe that's like 1.5x. I don't even know. Is it 2x? You let me know. Great shirt. Oh, we already did that one. Ouch, JD Vance. Seriously, from what I saw about JD Vance, here, I'll just jump over 1 second here. He looked like a pretty good candidate. I don't know him though. I don't live in Ohio, so if you guys know Ohio, let me know from the senator here. But I mean, he's a Marine Corps veteran. He's a best-selling author. He's a successful tech investor, and a senator. So those are pretty good qualifications. But again, I don't know a lot about him. So I don't know if there's something that is easily attacked. I would assume Trump would try and make this guy an easy patriotic play, personally. But you let me know. Benjamin Cohen, he says, Powell says that the last 3 inflation readings add confidence that inflation is falling. Seems like Powell is opening the door for a rate cut later this year. I would say September. I think that's locked in. I would put like 99% chance that in September, that's exactly what's happening. All right. I wanted to cover this too. It's talking about the housing and banking sector, and I'm saying they're ready for rate cuts in September. If you look here, it says Mortgage News Daily Rate Index, and Lance said it's the lowest reading since February 1st, 2024, which is a while ago. Not a half a year, but getting close. And the average 30-year fixed mortgage rate comes in at 6.81. We were above the 7s for a while, so this is a good number, and it's just they're getting ready for rate cuts. The banks are expecting rate cuts. That's the signal they've received. My buddy Tom Lee retweeted me here. He's a stud. We hang out on the weekends. And he said that, well, he just retweeted my post about small caps and the Russell are at their highest levels since December of 2021, with almost 3x the returns today versus the S&P. And I think that actually has turned to 6x at close, because the S&P was up 0.28% and the Russell was up 1.8%. So it broadened even more in its outperformance. So that was cool. Remarkable chart from Michael. Again, I think this guy's based out of Germany, but he's doing a comparison of GDP per capita against Poland and Japan, and just talking about how free markets do way better than socialist governments. And Poland is a large free market, which is really cool. And I think, history, I went back thousands of years and looked at economies all around the world. And if they didn't die from war, they died from mismanagement. So again, I think free markets are the best form of government we have right now, and small government. And I will die on that hill. All right. Oh, hey, thanks for the tip, Dustin, for $10. It says my accounts hit over 100K in value today for the first time. Thanks for your posts and videos. Really appreciate you helping out. Dude, that's awesome. I'm super happy for you, bro. All right. This next post, it says, this looks like a chart that wants to bounce. And it's talking about I think it's the New York Empire State Manufacturing Survey. And this talks about general business conditions and then the number of employees. Now, what's interesting here is I would actually argue when you look at this trend that we've seen here, there's a lot of variance in the general business conditions. You can see there's a lot of confusion, a lot of up and down. That's something we didn't really have in 2008. We had kind of a slow trickle, but it was pretty much in line with employment. But I would argue that this is a sign that we're looking to break higher. This is like a descending, broadening wedge. And these patterns don't just apply to like stock tickers. They're like natural patterns in science. And so I would argue that this looks like something that wants to bounce higher, even though it did come in lower than expectations today. I posted to Crossroads, Roy. I posted, yes, it's euphoria that Donald Trump is pro-business, Bitcoin, and Elon Musk, and now he's going to be the president. We're going up fast. I will hold by that statement. I don't like being political. I have been for the last 3 days. But I will hold by that statement. He's pro-business, he's pro-Bitcoin, and he's pro-Elon Musk right now, and that's a lot more than you could say for Joe Biden. And that matters. And then with everything with the assassination and all this stuff, the markets today went up for one reason, and it was because Donald Trump didn't die. So, again, I don't want to be political, but it's just the truth. It's the reality. We need to understand the markets. And if we take our politics, whether we're liberal or conservative or something in between, I really don't care. But if we take our politics and change our worldview based upon it, we're making a mistake, because you need to try and interpret the results as they truly are. And that is why the markets went up today. So whether you're a Democrat or Republican, I don't really give a shit. This is the truth. So acknowledge that. Ryan, breadth was never as bad as they told us. Now we have data confirming it. And this is from RenMac, Renaissance Macro Research. And they said 20 days highs in Russell 3000 got to 49.4% Friday, highest since December of last year. Imagine what it is today. Imagine how good it looks today. And again, this is just showing these are polls that are showing that Donald Trump is probably going to win the election. I think the betting markets have it at 70% plus right now, which it's at pretty crazy historic highs. And I honestly think that they're underestimating the reality of it. This is more about just market breadth and all this other stuff. I probably won't go over all that again since it's kind of redundant. What did I say here? Let's see. I had a point here. On average, so bar chart said on average the S&P 500 has fallen 24% roughly over a period of 195 days from the first Fed cut to the market low. Keep this in mind if the Fed begins to cut rates in September. I love bar chart. I love these guys. They got interesting data, but I just want to be clear. I don't know if the interpretation of the data is always perfect because there's rules, right? Like there's rules to this. It's not just when the Fed cuts, then the markets go down. That's not the reality of it, right? It's the reason, like, okay, when the Fed cuts, why are they cutting? Are they cutting in order to be proactive before the unemployment rate starts to skyrocket? If they're doing that, the market's going to interpret that as a positive thing, right? And so, and then business owners will be like, hey, things are looking good, business friendly. I would argue, again, business owners right now, these people are going, oh, hells yeah, the stock market's going up. Looks like Trump's going to be in office. They're Bitcoin friendly. They're deregulation. They're for smaller government, state-run government. These are all things that will help reduce expense and also the tax burden on them, because Trump's very proud of reducing regulation and reducing taxes in order to increase growth. And we need growth. We need to outgrow our deficits. And so if we're lowering rates, which lowers the interest we pay on our debts, and then at the same time, we're growing and we're deregulating and we're taking out bureaucracy and making it easier to accomplish things, the world is a better fucking place, okay? So I don't care what your political beliefs are. That's just fucking true. And if you don't believe it, go back thousands of years and look up the economies of every successful civilization that's existed, and find some examples where I'm wrong. I would love to hear it. You won't. So don't waste your fucking time. All right. Next. Here we go. I have... We find institutional investors are still pretty skeptical of this market move. Okay, so this is our boy Tom Lee. Let's let him speak. It's only a minute, and once this dumbass is done talking, we'll get time going. All right, here we go.
I think you would dismiss different.
Well, I don't know if peaks and markets are measured by the percentage gains off the lows. We've studied that extensively. I mean, even going back to 1929, no drawdown or bull market bottom has ever been measured by how much it's risen. It's usually by how much of a prior move is retraced. I don't want to be too complicated, but...
Hey, you guys can't hear that audio?
The reason I might disagree
can you hear this?
Is there's no signs of euphoria. You know, and in the client meetings I've done, and I've done several this week, and the Zooms that I do, and I've done countless Zooms, we find institutional investors are still pretty skeptical of this market move.
Oh, shitty. Okay. Let me see. Let me try this.
Or premature because the Fed is still not cutting, or they think inflation's still a problem. So I think many people cite reasons to be sidelined and actually skeptical. So to me, that's not what you usually see at the top.
So I'll just summarize. I'll summarize. Sorry, the volume must not have been right. It'd be great if I hired somebody to actually help with this shit, since I do it so infrequently and I suck. But anyway, so my buddy Tom was talking about how basically they've done research going back to 1929 and trying to figure out, when markets generally roll over or when they bounce, and there's nothing showing that right now would be a time that the market would roll over. And again, he's looking at global liquidity. He's looking at inflation. He's thinking about when cuts happen. He's thinking about, the macro and everything else in between. And he thinks the market's going to do fine, which is the same thing I think it's going to do. I think this is actually probably one of the best times to invest in history because of global liquidity. So, all right, bar chart. Shorting stocks right now would be insanity, warns big short investor Steve Eisman. So this guy was one of the people in The Big Short, leading actor. And he's like, you're fucking stupid if you short right now. Listen to him. He's actually a really smart dude. And if you haven't listened to his work, go to YouTube and listen to him. He's brilliant. All right, Jeffrey Hirsch. NASDAQ mid-year rally up 5% already. More than that now. Official end approaching, but could persist modestly longer since July has best NASDAQ and S&P 500 month last 21 years. So again, July is a great month. We're halfway through it. It's really done well. But there's a lot of things that are really doing well. If you think about what's happened, even in the last couple of months, we're getting an ETH ETF. It looks like that's actually fucking happening. We already had the Bitcoin ETF. I didn't even know if that would ever happen. And it's already there. And then we have Michael Dell retweeting stuff about Bitcoin all the time, including what Larry Fink was talking about today. That was a great video, too, if you haven't seen it. But it's just there's so many things happening right now. And then you have, pro-crypto president coming in, vice president who's pro-crypto and pro-Bitcoin, too. You just have this massive shift towards, I would say, arguably capitalism and merit-based economies at a time where we're seeing, China needing to create more liquidity. We're seeing the perfect setup, guys. We're seeing the perfect setup. China's desperate. They're falling apart by the seams. And I do need to make a video about that. I'll probably do it this week. I will do it this week. But they're falling apart by the seams, and because of that, they haven't really been pushing on liquidity yet, but they will have to. And they'll do it in large volumes. And then their financial instability will also be impactful to the rest of the world because there's the second largest country by GDP in the world, right? So there will be a dance that's played between the United States and China, and it will include a lot of liquidity to try and make it to where they don't fail too much. Because we don't want, we would like to see Xi overthrown, and we'd like to see a democracy for sure. We don't want to see nukes going anywhere. So there's a big incentive for that not to happen. All right. Again, Bitcoin related, but JD Vance got approved as the VP today. And so he's pro-crypto and pro-Bitcoin. So I think this is actually just a great thing for Bitcoin. And as you can see, I'm still expecting Bitcoin to go to about 64,000. It might table off where it is right now, though, in this 50-day moving average in purple and this 100 moving day average in yellow. It might stop around here. Rex, hey, buddy, what's up, dude? Welcome back, brother. Thank you for being here and supporting me, man. Rex is a great guy. He's a good YouTuber. If you haven't listened to him, he's a young dude, but he's got the wisdom of a sage. So he's a good dude. Anyway, and then also we have this fib line up here in green. So we got a decent amount of resistance that we're going to be hitting up here, and you can kind of just see that if you look over. This would be a good area to get that head and shoulder pattern going, and that head and shoulder pattern, when it explodes, will be up into the 70s, close to 80,000 range. It'll be sweet. So Bitcoin has a long ways to go, and thank you, Dave. Hey, man, thoughts on net? I will look at that. I will look at that before I'm done today. Heck of a day for the portfolio. Dude, I don't make $250,000 very many days of the week. So, yes, I'll take it. All right, I wanted to post this one. This is from Glassnode. I got a subscription with these guys. They're a great company. They get a little expensive, like all these data aggregators for the blockchain network, especially Bitcoin. But this was a really good one, and I wanted to talk to it. So they talked about. I kind of just wanted to make my own point on here, but it shows bull market correction drop downs. So it shows how much they dropped and then how much they surge, right? And so you can see the drops at the top. Note that the drop was not that steep this last time. My argument is because the Fed raised rates at the most aggressive rate in history, killing global liquidity for the entire world as everybody jumped into lockstep or risked being destroyed. So we got a double top on Bitcoin. We got a double top on a lot of shit. Everything fell apart after that. And so because we got neutered on the top, I think that we had a shallower bottom because we just didn't have as much upside as we were going to have. Now, in that same note, with the shallower bottom, I think we're going to have a spring much higher because we're not going to have this roadblock this time. And if anything, we're going to have an explosion of liquidity. So it changes the dynamic drastically. And so I just want you to keep this in mind. I think Bitcoin's going to outperform our expectations if we're looking at the last cycle as our guide. Rex said, figured I'd throw a couple of bucks a month to your way. Congrats on all the portfolio gains, man. You're killing it. Thanks, Rex. Appreciate you, dude. RJ Cohen, Tesla and Hood, if you have time, thanks. Yep, I'll get to those. Yeah, I could do all that. All right, so let me get down here. Let's look at some more. So again, I just threw out this point. Is it time for pure Bitcoin miners to outperform? And I put Microstrategy as a Bitcoin miner because they have more Bitcoin than any of the miners. So if you hear me talk about miners, I'm talking about MicroStrategy a lot of the time too. But yeah, so we've had the AI narrative going for a while, and AI is probably taking a break. NVIDIA was down 0.62% today. So I think with that break happening, that break is also happening in the AI narrative within the Bitcoin space. So I would make an argument that these pure plays are going to do better. And again, with almost 30% returns on Cypher, I would say that's true. Thanks, Kumar, for joining, man. Appreciate you. All right, Bitcoin. This is the Larry Fink video I wanted to talk about. This is great, actually.
Now, I know you have been a leader in willing to embrace crypto. You have made it so that people can be in Bitcoin. We hear that you are thinking about Ethereum. These are incredible things. Now, BlackRock is not known as a gunslinger by any means. So you obviously must believe that this may be as an alternative. Is this an alternative in order to be able, because of a deficit, maybe something long-term people should have?
Absolutely. As you know, I was a skeptic.
Yes.
I was a proud skeptic. And I studied it, learned about it, and I came away saying, okay, my opinion 5 years ago was wrong. Here's my opinion today. This is what I believe in today. I believe the opportunity today. I believe Bitcoin is legitimate. I'm not trying to say there's not misuses like everything else, but it is a legitimate financial instrument that allows you to have maybe uncorrelated, non-correlated type of returns. I believe it is an instrument that you invest in when you're more frightened, though. It is an instrument when you believe that countries are debasing their currency, debasing their currency by excess deficits, and some countries are. I believe we have countries where you're frightened of your everyday existence, and if you have an opportunity to invest in something that is outside your country's control, then you can have more financial control. And so I'm a major believer that there is a role for Bitcoin in portfolios. I believe you're going to see that as one of the asset classes that we all look at. I look at it as digital gold, as I said before, and I do believe there's a real need for everyone to look at it as one alternative to, I would say, the optimism that I have in the world. If you want to hedge hope, Bitcoin is not an instrument for hope unless you're hopeful you're going to make a lot of money on it. But I look at it as a vehicle in which you're expressing your financial acumen in something that you're more frightened of the world, you're more frightened of your existence. And I believe there's a great industrial use for it. And I think a lot of people are missing that.
I could.
All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. Again, rusty. So Larry Fink, I know some people don't like him because, especially in the Bitcoin and conservative worlds, because he's the head of BlackRock. There's all these negative connotations that go with that. Especially, again, these guys were like at the forefront of like DEI and ESG type initiatives for business and pushing for all of that, and they go to all the WEF conferences and all this shit, right? And they have such large portfolios. People directly associate like their wealth, but they're really just containers for a lot of this other wealth, and then they get a part of it, right? But it's not like they have all that wealth. But I do think he's seeing light, and I think he's changing a little bit in his perspective. He isn't pushing the ESG thing anymore, and I think his worldviews are changing with with China, he realizes that they're falling apart and they're a threat. And I think that's a good thing to realize. And then he's also clearly understanding that there's a major problem with economies all around the world, and they're all tied to each other, guys. Banks don't have money, and governments don't either. I don't know how to get you to understand this, but it's all fake. It's all just paper. It's all just a shell game. Literally, our government, you're supposed to have like assets in the accounting world. You're supposed to have assets that offset debts, right? Like that's the goal, right? That's how you have a good balance sheet. Like you gotta be positive. Otherwise, you have to get funding. You have to, renegotiate debts. You have to do all these things to fix yourself or go bankrupt, right? So you have to, or just grow. You got to grow quicker and try and get to positive. You got to do all these things to try and survive. And but the government, they don't have to worry because the assets they generate are just more debt. Bonds are just debt. All they do is say, hey guys, here's some bigger numbers than there were before. And we've expanded the broader money supply, which means that it's in the banking system. And it's all made up. It's all made up. And this is the destroyer of every civilization that wasn't destroyed by some natural disaster or war. It's money that's destroyed them. So, like all of them. So you just have to realize that the bigger government gets, the more it's involved, the more it starts doing. It's inefficient by nature. And it's been that way since the beginning of time. And when you have incentives to have actual people that know what they're fucking doing to create good things that lower the cost of goods, provide better goods, are cooler, whatever they are, it doesn't even matter. But that people want, then they benefit, they get wealthy, they bring in tax revenue, they hire people. There's all these benefits that happen from a society where you have a free capital market and people can benefit. Because when people can benefit, they work extra hard, at least a third of them, right? And some of them, like Elon, the 1%, they work insanely hard and can do amazing things. But without free market capitalism, if you just, again, Larry Fink knows that we need to reduce debt, we need to grow. He says these things all the time. And he knows that the government should be using this as a world reserve currency in conjunction with, us being the world reserve currency. This should help back it, is what I'm trying to say. And so, again, you can think of him in a negative light, and he definitely deserves it from the past. But anyway, I think what he's saying is insightful, and I think it's brilliant. And I think you need to listen to it at times, too. Bitcoin conference, 10 days away. This is a fucking ridiculous. We got Kathy Wood going here. We've got Donald Trump going here. We've got everybody you can think of. It is insane how many people. It's like a rock star convention anymore. Blows my mind from when I got into this in 2017. All the weirdos that would go to Bitcoin conventions, maybe in one of them, but not that I've been to something this big, but there's a lot of just weirdos and nerds and like just crazy techno geeks and cypherpunks and all this shit. And now it's like, it's a celebrity show, it's just amazing. And with Donald Trump being there for the first time, I don't know if his VP is going to go too, but if he says positive things about crypto and he legitimately says one of the first actions I will do when I can is make this, add this to our reserves as a nation, Bitcoin will fucking scream higher. You have to realize that. All right, Ethereum. Ethereum is above a breakout zone from a technical level. From my buddy Income Sharks. He's a good dude. He's got like 526,000 followers. He's really good at what he does. If I haven't been making charts as much lately because I'm lazy. But if you wanted really good charts, this is a great guy to follow. Also, I was speaking this morning. I said when we get to 63,500, we'll have a rocket launch higher off of short liquidations. I probably should have said 64 because we haven't quite got the rocket launch. We did okay, but we're not quite there. So it's just a little bit higher. We got to get a little bit higher so that we could just wipe out some shorts and start driving higher. I think that's it for Bitcoin. Let's move on. So again, the Fed talked today. I showed you some posts about what that was about. We talked about the New York State Empire Manufacturing Index. The CME, let's look at the CME. How we do? So 8.8% for July. That's actually going up. That's kind of shocking, even though I think it can get to double digits pretty quick. But off the things that we heard from Powell today, I'm not too surprised. Wait the fuck. Is it like 100% chance of a rate cut now? Am I tripping? It's 100% chance. It's 100% chance that we get at least one rate cut, all the way up to 3 now. 0.2% or 75 bips. That's nuts. I think people are starting to price in rate cuts. Anyway, we're in the greed section, just barely in the stock market. I think that's a positive thing. In the crypto world, we are in neutral. Believe it or not. Today with Cypher, I made 28%, and we're in neutral. Altcoins for the last week, I've been talking about this, have not been super bad. That's probably cool. Let's look at other stuff, though. Let's move around here. Let's look at some heat indexes. Let's have some fun here. All right, so how'd the markets do? Again, kind of a mixed bag of nuts. You got NVIDIA down. You got Apple up. I don't know. Nothing too crazy. Retail trade didn't do well today. Consumer non-durables didn't do great today. Health and tech wasn't super good. Utilities, a few of these. Nothing too crazy and out of the ordinary, though. I thought this was pretty much expected. Now, again, the crypto side of things, we did see resilience with Bitcoin up 4.46%, but I just want to point out this. I've been saying this for a while. Look what outperformed. It was Ethereum. It was Binance. It was Solana. You're going to get outperformance right now from the other big caps, and then it'll drift down into the smaller caps. It's just how it works. Too many people dismiss BTC without trying to understand the currency that they use daily. Yeah, they don't even know how money works. They don't even know how money works. Rex Finance said, I thought I was a nerd. Then I went to a BCTC conference. Yeah, that's totally fucking true, dude. That is very true. Especially like the further back, years back you go. That was very true. Drew S., thoughts on TLT for interest rate reduction trade? Yeah, I haven't thought about it enough. I will, though. All right, let's see. A bubble bath turned green. Algal bloom. I'm sorry, what? Jingo. What a day. Congrats, Jesse. Thanks, man. I hope everybody that, does similar trades to my own or has a similar thought process did really well today, too. Again, so let's look at the indices. We got the S&P getting ready. I've been saying this for a while. We're inching up on the .618. I can see this being a resistance zone for the S&P. Maybe we get above it a little bit and then break down, but I can see there being some fight here and tension here. And I think, by the 0.28% that we went up, we're going to start to see some of that in the coming days, maybe throughout the next week or two. I think that would be expected. And then the NASDAQ, it still looks ready to launch to me. It looks like it's not even really seeing tension to 21,300, or maybe it suffers like the S&P too, because again, we've got a lot of really big companies that have done pretty well, and I do see that rotation that Tom Lee's been talking about for a long time, where we go to smaller caps happening. So I don't know. We'll see. I think higher. I think higher for this one. I think it's less exhausted than the S&P, but we'll see what happens. And then, of course, the Russell. The Russell did 6 times better than what we saw from the S&P today with 1.8% in returns. It's just nice. I posted this earlier, that thing that Tom had posted. It just shows, we're back at, almost 2021 timeframes here. 2022, beginning of 2022. That's pretty awesome. The Russell hasn't seen an all-time high yet. And the measured move that I still have for these guys, and I think Tom's still plotting too, last time I checked, is about 33% up in small caps. And so some of these could really start to scream as that happens. And again, it could overshoot if we have a really good market. Maybe 3,300 is the target. And again, this is going to play out over time. I'm thinking like a year. But we'll see. We'll see what happens there. All right, the dollar. What did the dollar do today? The dollar is up 0.15%. But again, not really doing much. I would argue that maybe it'll try and shift up here. And the dollar strengthening as much as the Chinese yuan is getting ready to fall apart. I think that might make sense. Gold. Gold is up. Oh my God, guys. Gold is up. Boomer coin is up 26% in over 13 years. Wow. Now you're rich. So, again, I just think of this as the shitty version of Bitcoin. It's got a less multiplier. Don't get me wrong. I might buy some someday, but not right now. Oil. Oil is still suffering from a rejection of the previous support, right? It got rejected over here, it broke down, it went back up, it tested it again, it failed. Now it looks like, I would say, a left shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder. In the measured move, I think we would at least go to 78 on the daily to try and test that moving average, if not breaking underneath of it. But I think we'd at least try and test it at like the 78 range. So I'm still calling upper 70s in oil. And the MOVE index, again, it's the bond volatility index. Like I've been saying for a while, I wanted to see this break down from this previous, head and shoulder pattern. I wanted to see it just keep falling. And it looks like it still is a head and shoulder pattern. And it's trying to break down, and that's a good thing. If we go back further, you can see that this thing can go a ways. The measured move for this would actually put us like in the 50s. So it would be a very low number, and it's close. That's close to what we saw, in the 2020s. It's not like it's crazy. And again, low bond volatility is good. Low bond volatility is good. It means the market is chill. It means the world isn't falling apart, and it means stocks are probably going to outperform. All right, the 2-year. The 2-year, I've said before that this looked like it's rolling over out of a rising wedge. We broke underneath the 50. We broke under the 100. It looks like we're not finding support. So the measured move for this could be down here. So it looks like the 2-year, wants to breathe and take a break. So, yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens here. All right, let's look at the inversion too. The inversion actually is trying to close again, but I think what's more likely to happen, and I should probably color this green. I think what's more likely to happen is that we're going to be range bound in here for a while and maybe like get up, roll over, try and establish support again, which again gets us out to like the end of 2025, which is plenty of time. That's exactly when I expect this to maybe start actually inverting, or I should say uninverting. All right, real quick. CNY is too much of a fiat to fall apart per se. They'll stop its semi-free usage before they let it humiliate them. Yeah, man, China's so fucked. They don't have much of any power anymore to do anything to solve their problems. The yuan is going to fall apart. It's just a matter of when, and I think it's going to be very soon. The Japanese yen is actually not doing too bad. If you look here on the recent time frame, we were at 162, so we're at 158. Went up a little bit today, so it's seeing a little bit of pressure, but it's kind of a slow grind. They seem to be intervening. I kind of said before, I think the Treasury and Japan are probably working together to make sure that the yen isn't falling apart. That's my guess. And they're probably not giving that service to China. Do you think they're giving that to China? Do you think they're giving that to Russia? Probably not. I'm going to say no. So the Chinese yuan is up again 0.12%. When we get up here to like the 7.33 and that ascending triangle gets ready, that measured move I have here, that's going to be pretty crushing for the yuan. It will put them back to levels they haven't seen since 2006, and it's coming. They're getting ready for a world to hurt. The thing is, we don't want them to hurt too much. We don't want them to fall apart. Unless it means Xi's dead. We want Xi. I shouldn't say that, actually. They don't want him around running the country. Don't demonetize me. All right, Prabhat. Hey, thanks, man. Thanks for joining. All right, the ruble. Let's see how it's doing. Is it strong? Is it weak? Okay, so it's deteriorating a little bit. I think they could probably keep it going for a little while. They're working so much with the Chinese yuan right now. We'll see. Put-call ratio. Oh, it's still down. It's not high at all. That's great. All right, let's jump through Bitcoin. And then, again, stopped at the 50. I think that's a good place. So I said we're going to stop around 64 to 65, which is like up around here. And it appears that we're taking a little breather at 64. We'll see how quickly Bitcoin can get through it. Either way, though, this pattern right here, guys, is so bullish. This is so bullish. This is just ready to scream higher. So don't go selling stuff too early. That's not recommended at all. Again, MicroStrategy, look at this. Look at the depths of despair from April around May in the 1,000 range that people were in. And now we're up to 1,600. And we could be at 2,000 in a week or two. Like, it could happen so fast. Doesn't mean it has to, but man, is it ready. And then if we're looking at Mara, we're right at the fib. I know it went up 18.34% today, but in after hours, it is grinding and riding the .382 fib after spending plenty of time on the 200 moving average and not breaking down on this weekly time frame. So I honestly, it's going to be easy to me in the weeks ahead to go up another 34% to get to our previous all-time high. So easy. I'm just going to delete it because who cares? Got to put something challenging up here. So I think that the real challenge in the next couple of months is going to be the .5 at 40, 45, 46. I think that's going to be the fun times, and that'll give us a 90% return on that investment. And if you own as much Mara as I do, let's see, just in this one account, 226,000, you're okay with that. Anyway. All right, let's see. CleanSpark, and I will do Bitfarms. Just give me a sec, bro. Give me a sec. I'll try and read some of these. Thanks, Jesse. Been following you for some time now on X. Cool, man. I think you'll get benefit from this, too. I don't do it too many times a week because I'm trying to not say the same thing every day, but I am trying to provide value as much as I can in a short period of time. So it's easier to do on here than it is X. X is a little harder. You can do little tiny things, but not really big theme stuff, right? CleanSpark. Up again like 16% today, above the golden retracement zone. Turn this thing into its bitch, and it looks like we're in breakout territory. I can't quite see if we're in breakout territory. No, we are. We're above breakout territory. If we roll to the daily here, in after hours, we're above it. So, this is difficult, because we had this moment of trying to get above and then just being consistently underneath. But you can see where the real tension is here, right? Hopefully you can. Woohoo, finally made it live. Awesome. I hope you enjoy it, dude. Hope you enjoy it, Kane. All right, Cypher. Cypher, my MVP. Love this. I've been saying this for a while, too. I've been saying, guys, you see these wicks? See these just really impressive wicks and how they just keep going up? Well, you know what that means? It means the price action still wants to go in that direction. So, and that's what it did with almost 30% move today, which is insane. And it probably sounds crazy to me, or crazy if you're listening to me, to think, hey guys, you there? So I think my shitty fiber connection drops every once in a while, but you guys should be hearing me again, so I'm going to proceed ahead. Sorry about that. You get a 5 gig up and down, and then it's like, oh yeah, but every once in a while we're just going to turn it off. I don't know. Fucking A. Anyway, so yeah, Cypher, this might sound crazy, but I think we're going another 31%, and I think really before we start to see any kind of resistance, Cypher's up 62%, and I think that's really quick. I think it's quicker than Mara or CleanSpark or any of that stuff. So just make sure you're ready for that. Make sure you're ready for all of this Bitcoin-related stuff, guys. It's gonna, if we have a really good conference, it's going to explode, because we have actual news. These other Bitcoin conferences, people like to say, well, oh, you know, it's not going to go up after the conference. It'll be a sell the news event, and it'll be a sell the news event because, you know, that's the way it's always been. What you have to think about differently right now is the fact that we have a president, a vice president, a massive shift. Everybody is pro-Bitcoin right now, and that means something. It's very, very important. And it will be, we're going to have the first conference where it's actually fucking impactful in a big way. Because we've got a governmental shift, not just for this country, but America is the gold standard for investing and for currencies, right? So, and the strongest military in the world. We've got a lot of things going for us. And so if we're the gold standard and we're switching to Bitcoin and adding it as a reserve asset, another reserve asset, the world will do the same. And I don't know if that happens like right away this cycle, or maybe in the bear market. If Trump is smart enough, or Vivek's there, or Vance, or whoever, is savvy enough, they're probably going to wait and have the United States add in the bear, which should be closer to like 2027, early 2027 into 2026. So, yeah, anyway, I think it's going to be interesting times. All right, real quick, Bitcoin dominance. We ticked up a little bit. And again, we're testing, we're very stable right at this line, but I believe we're rolling over. And so I think as we roll over, I think Bitcoin can go first. Maybe even we can break above this border just a hair. Maybe we can do that. We did it over here, right? So maybe we can break that trend just a hair, but it's going down. It's going down because that's a part of the cycle. People jump into Bitcoin, and then when they make a shit ton of money in a short period of time off of Bitcoin, they go, hey, what's the other things? Do you guys know of like what the next big thing is? What's everybody talking about on socials? And they try and figure out where they can reallocate those funds. They don't think about taxes, most of them. And last time they were buying GIFs, but you know, whatever. That's the way it works. It's just the way it works. It's the way the majority of people work, and so it's going to continue to do that this time too. C-list, gold standard is an interesting metaphor to use here, but yes, America is. We are. Yeah, I know. I shit on gold all the time. I might buy some later, though. You know, my perception changes all the time on things, depending upon how overbought and how oversold they are. So I won't shit on it too much. But yeah, we are the gold standard. We really are in all these things, and that's important, and it means something. And it's real, so people should pay attention to it. All right. Real quickly, I don't think I've done Tesla yet. I'm going to jump to Tesla. Did I do Tesla? I didn't do Tesla. You guys tell me. Did I? I'm going to say I didn't. I'm going to say what I did probably was I clicked over here and I told a bunch of people I was going to go live. And then I never went to Tesla. So that's not cool. We're going to do Tesla real fast. And I'm going to show you the chart too. I think Tesla's setting up for good things. We'll look at that in a second though. This one said, hey, so now we have official confirmation from Elon Musk that the Robotaxi event was delayed from 8/8. And so let's look at what he actually said. He said, requested what I think is an important design change to the front of the Robotaxi, and extra time allows us to show off a few other things. Now, there's speculation about the Roadster, maybe another vehicle. Maybe it's this, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing for the Robotaxi. Is it a little tiny two-door? Is it more like a van that they can use downtown that's kind of like a bus or something? Or maybe that's the other thing. I don't know what they're looking to show off. I'm excited for it. But my message here was this just gives Tesla stock more time to run. Because again, normally the way things work are buy the rumor, sell the news. And we're going to have a lot of rumors between now and October, if that's in fact when it happens. All right, Nick Cruz said, Elon said Tesla is testing out FSD 12.5. This is crazy because people are like, oh, hey, or Chuck Cook, the guy with the famous left turn, he was saying, hey, so I think they're testing 12.45 now, all these technicians or ADAS operators out there because he's seeing them out and about. And Elon's like, no, man, it's 12.5. This is crazy. I believe 12.5 is the one where I get FSD for my Cybertruck. Pretty stoked about that. And again, I think the pace of advancement, people might be shit talking, being like, oh, they haven't moved as quick. They were moving really quick, and then all of a sudden they slowed down. Well, they're doing like 3 different variants at once, and so at any point they can be like, you know what, kill the other tree. This one's better on every level. We're going to go down this one, and so we could see a giant leap forward at any time. I used to work for software companies, and so you do things like this where you're working on different products. And if you have a major advancement on something that provides tons of value, you're going to jump to it instead. And so that's all they're doing is jumping branches. So it could be really cool. I did say here too, I said, what will the world look like when energy, transportation, and labor costs are 25% of what they do today? That's weird. What they are today. What they are today over the next 15 to 20 years. So what I'm saying is, all 3 of these categories, which make up the base costs for the majority of goods that we purchase, outside of like, you know, the commodity itself you're getting out of the ground or something. But if your labor costs are lower to do that, and it takes less energy, and then to transport them, it costs less money. Really, this applies to like everything. So the thing I'm trying to make people aware of is we're headed towards an exponential age of abundance. Which is a crazy thing to think of in the world we're living in right now. But if we don't destroy it, we're going to see all these things go to zero from all the advancements that we have going on right now today. And I'm going to try and, convince you of this argument over time. Maybe I'll make a video where I cover some of these things and try and put them together. But you need to understand that with autonomy, transportation costs will be reduced significantly, and that everyone is pushing for more energy, and we're finding better ways to capture energy, and companies like Tesla are getting wicked contracts, which we'll go over in a second, for battery storage, and those are only going to get better. And those get better if their auto sector suffers, which is fucking crazy. But again, they're just going to win on all levels. And as that happens, as energy gets cheaper, as transportation gets cheaper, as Optimus gets built, and notice this, these are the three base costs for like most goods, right? Energy, transportation, and labor. And who is fixing these? Who is innovating in these sectors? Who is the leader in these sectors? And I can tell you who it's going to be. It's Tesla. And so if you don't own Tesla, you're just being an idiot. You're just being stupid. All right, R something. He said, that's my view too. Energy is basically free in the future. And so this is from Bloomberg. It's source Moto Energy. It says negative electricity prices will increase tenfold in the years to come. Cumulative hours of negative wholesale prices forecast for, this is for the UK, but it's the same gist, right? So what they're seeing is they're going to be seeing so much abundance in energy that the prices see downward pressure, negative pricing, right? And it says Europe is having record levels of negative energy prices. And look at this. Look at them based upon the year. Look at how record-breaking this actually is based upon timing. And this won't just be a thing there. It will be a thing here too. Jesse, Tesla, end of year price target, in your opinion? I think it can do 400 pretty easy. I don't know beyond that. I don't know. We'll see. Tesla rips faces off of a lot of people. I don't think... I have sold prematurely on it. I should have got my 32x or whatever it was last time when it ran from 2019 to 2021 or whatever it was. But I didn't. I got a nice, number. I think it was like 10x or something, but could have got 30. So if there's anything I've learned about Tesla, you need to be patient with it. That's what I'm saying. So be patient. And we'll pull up the stock in a second, and I'll give a more in-depth response on what I think, covering a lot of technicals and fundamentals. Son of the Walkie, I love this guy. Breaking Global Equities Research raises Tesla price target from 340 to 400 because of its accelerating EV demand. That's not even a good reason, but I don't care. I'll take it. All right. I put a lot of people that think energy prices are going up, but they're not. We're in a race over the next 10 plus years to energy costing a fraction of what it does today. And this person, Steve, this is what got me down in this vein of thought. He said, seriously going to impasse gas peaker plants, and really peaker plants in general everywhere that charge really, really high rates for electricity. They're the things you want to replace right away, right? That's why everybody wants these fucking mega packs, because they can get rid of peaker plants. This is every utility on the fucking planet. Every utility on the planet can benefit from this. Everyone. So, considering you need peaker plants for when you have excess demand that you can't fill and you don't want to have brownouts, you fire up peaker plants and you charge a fortune for them when the batteries could do it for nothing. Just really low costs in comparison. And I posted something earlier. This is from Sawyer Merritt. And I posted something about, kind of says it up here, but I said, oh shit, there that goes. I said there's a 45% reduction in the cost of these mega packs is what Sawyer was talking about. And then also Matt Smith and a few others, Hans and Farzad were talking about. But then so you have this reduction in mega pack costs over the last couple of years, and then at the same time, year over year, and then a massive one, almost half off. And that's happening because you had increased auto demand and battery storage demand because of failing Chinese EVs and legacy automakers not doing well, and just the auto sector being incredibly depressed because of a glut of used cars and too many people Too many people buying really fucking expensive cars and not being able to trade them out because they've got negative equity, and it's a fucking mess. But as the auto sector gets hurt, this gets better. In the past 2 weeks, Tesla secured a new Megapack contract worth a combined $800 million, totaling nearly 2.4 gigawatt hours of battery projects. And these are just the ones we know about. And this is applicable to every fucking utility on Earth and every home and every business. Just a tiny little business. Just a small business that Tesla has going here. All right, Tesla Energy. Nathan drives over 93,000 kilometers a year in his Tesla. Within a month of installing Powerwalls, he saved 94% off of his electricity bill. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but again, it's awesome to be able to save money, and it's awesome that my Cybertruck will be a backup to power for my house. The world is changing to this, guys. Fuck solar. Just ignore solar. If you ignore solar, everybody wants to be able to have the ability to be able to, especially if you're in your region, they charge different rates during the day for power, to be able to take power that's cheap and be able to store it, have it act as a backup, and then potentially run your house when rates could be 2x higher or more, right? You save money every month, and you have a power backup that helps you. So there's just all this stuff happening, and it's huge. All right, real quick, Farzad said something the other day. It's political. Try not to get too biased here, but I am. Here you go. He said, Elon Musk endorsing Donald Trump creates a unique opportunity for electric vehicles to be a source of national pride. Right now it is not. Conservatives do not love Tesla. They are starting to love Elon Musk, but they don't love Tesla. At least a lot of them don't, right? So, but that could change. And this says China has been on a mission to dominate the future of transport by going all in on EV technology, especially in investments in the supply chain needed to dramatically lower costs. With Trump's nationalist messaging and the general aversion to EV technology from the right of the political spectrum, Elon's endorsement could be seen as a major catalyst for the adoption of EVs in the U.S. And Elon actually, in one of his last videos, he shits on like a lot of EV, period, but He shit on China's EVs, or said that they can't run the world with auto vehicles, and that people should have choice between ICE and EVs. And I agree, they should. They'll eventually switch to EVs because it's just fucking better. I'm sorry. And I love the roar of a good engine, but it just is. Anyway, so but all these things are going to be shifting. This is all going to be changing, and I think you're going to see an affiliation with Donald Trump and Elon that people aren't understanding yet. But let's read more of this, and I'll give more of my thoughts. Tesla would benefit tremendously from this in many ways. He put, bullet number one, an Elon endorsement opens the door for friendly legislation for EVs and Tesla in a Republican-led administration, significant de-risking the future success of the technology. Maybe. I think he's going to kill the... Here's what I think. I think this is wrong. Sorry, Farzad. I think that what would actually happen is that we'll see the tax credit go away, the $7,500 tax credit, and that might sound bad, but if there's a slower auto demand, then energy demand will go up because batteries are way fucking cheaper than they used to be. They're dropping hugely in cost, which is why they're able to price these mega packs 45% lower when they've got years and years of wait, and the list is growing longer and longer and longer, and they're still getting huge margins, right? So I think what would happen is we would see potentially a hit in some of the auto sales, but they'll just discount, give 0% offers, what the fuck ever. They'll just do whatever they can to get them out the door, right? And they're continuing to lower cost all the time, so they'll naturally be getting cheaper. But I think what this will do is it will destroy, and maybe Trump will have to change his tune after he's in office, because I think he's won, in case you haven't understood that yet. I think he's won, so I'm just going to say it as if everything from here on out is if he has. But when he wins, I think what'll happen is I think Legacy Auto will start to say, we're sorry, dude. You've got to not do this because we need to sell our hybrids. We need to sell our EVs. Like, you need to give us a level platform so we'll keep making the ICE cars, but you can't just fucking take this stuff away from us, because they would get crushed, and it would actually benefit Tesla in the end, because they're already losing so much money. They would have to just drastically reduce production. And if they did that, Tesla would be able to get larger market share, because they wouldn't slow down. They would increase production and they would lower prices. So I think there's just massive benefits here Even if Trump takes away the tax credit, I'm not even worried about it. Anyway, Tesla makes the most American-made cars, which plays extremely well in the political right. I agree. That's a huge thing that the right isn't paying attention to. My Tesla Cybertruck is way more fucking American than your Ford F-150. I'm sorry to tell you that. It's just true. Your shit's made like in Mexico and other fucking parts of the world. Your parts are probably from China, okay? Like, Tesla is the most American-made brand. They are. Deal with it. All right, Tesla can further the United States' plans to become energy independent, which is a major contributor for national security, by deploying energy storage and solar solutions. This is an area that I've talked about before, and I don't think people think about enough. It is good to have energy independent homes, at least to where they can function, and businesses where they can function. If there was war or anything happened and there were power stations that were attacked, or power stations were attacked, just hacked to turn them off, you could prevent your society from just immediately collapsing from not having power and not being able to get things up and running by having this resilience. And if there's bombs dropped, your resilience. This is something we have to do. We have to get better with battery systems and energy storage. We have to do that. But he said this is probably just scratching the surface, but there's a lot of potential here for the U.S. to become a leading force in the next generation of transportation systems, which will prevent a total monopoly from China. So here's the thing I think Donald Trump is very impressed with Elon. He said it a bunch of times. He was talking about how he can land these rockets, and he's never seen that before, and how he does these things that nobody else can do. He's very impressed with him. He's going to want to work with him. He knows he's got huge social influence. If anything, he's potentially more socially influenced, or can influence more than Trump, at least based upon a number of different metrics that have been published. So I think there's going to be a relationship that's formed here, and I think that is a really big deal for Tesla. Now, let's get to the chart. Sorry, this is a long one. Try to get a bunch of good stuff in a short period of time if I can, but I do get long-winded. Just ask my wife. All right, so this is what I was talking about here. So to be clear, phase three in 2019, this is after splits, but 1173 was the price, and we got all the way up to 420 almost. That's a big deal. And so again, if I haven't shown this to you, let me just shrink this up. So we're up about 2% on the day in Tesla, not much. But there's four phases of consolidation, I called them. This one was really tough. We didn't go up much. That was mainly because the ramp was really like a disaster for the Model 3. There's a lot of shit going on, right? First X delivery, you got the Model 3, they're trying to ramp. You got the S deliveries over. So you have these moments where they just really go up. And I was arguing, based upon time frame and a bunch of other stuff, that we're in phase 4 right now. And phase 4, if you look historically here, 1,900%, 174%, 1,840%. These things can rock and roll. Now, I think we'll just get to 921 in the next couple of years. That's what I think is going to happen with Tesla, and I don't think other people can appreciate that as much as they should. But again, this chart is beautiful. We have broken out above 3-year trend almost, and are now back testing it right at it in the 250s before going higher. We could sit here for a week or two, maybe. I don't know. It might not even take that long. And then I think we're off to the 300 range. We got a gap to fill at 290 right over here. I mark it with this little square. And then also, I think really the next big point from there, we have this kind of valley in the 300 range. So I think honestly, I think we could go to 400. And I think that happens before the end of the year for sure. And I think there's a possibility of, if things get really fucking crazy and the markets get really exuberant, that early next year we'll see 599. And my ultimate goal is that 900 range, like I was talking about. I would make, at least $6-7 million around that time if I held my calls all the way through. I won't, but I'll make millions, I'm hoping, off of them. Yeah, but yeah, Tesla looks great. And let's look at PayPal, see if it did anything. Kind of boring, but again, consolidating over here. I like to see that. We're consolidating above previous resistance, going all the way back to March of 2022, so 2.5 years ago. and we're consolidating above it. And we do have a tweezer bottom into this here too. So, and then we have this big wick here. So this looks like it wants to rock and get above the 50 weekly moving average and probably test up in like the 63 range. This thing's been a pain in the ass, but I think it's getting there. And that's why I have the 2026 calls that I have. Now, Hood, yeah, Hood was a rock star. Again, I've kind of said Hood goes with Bitcoin, right? So if Bitcoin's going up 8%, or going up 4%, it makes sense that Hood is kind of a multiplier and it can go up 8. And that's what it did. And it's still just heading to its $30 range. I think that's an inevitability at this point. You can see where we already got up where we are around this 24 range and have done that once already. So this is just additional pressure up. So I think there's a 26 to 41% chance, 41% move over a shorter period of time. And I think, if Bitcoin really starts to sail, I could see this getting up to that next fib level, which is at 78 to the previous high around 85. At least that by the peak of the Bitcoin cycle. That's my guess. SoFi is actually, I think they're set up to go higher. I don't own hardly any. If I own any, I don't even know. It's like less than 1%. Just didn't have the multiplier I liked on the options contracts. But again, we're above peak volume here, and it looks like we want to get above the 50 weekly moving average. And when we do that, we're just going to take off. It's just a matter of time. I think that this is getting ready to jump 60% in a couple of quarters, maybe even. That's my guess. If I'm right about markets. If I'm wrong about markets, well, then that's not happening. Square, I was saying that I was looking at option contracts. I never really found any that I wanted, but Square is starting to bounce. It looks like this is probably like left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and a little mini shoulder, and I think we're going to go up quick. So I think it's going to start testing up near 78, 79, and then we'll see where we go from there. If it does do that, then it's going to close up to the 89 range pretty quick. Palantir, I think, was a rock star again today, was it? Up to 2.28%. Getting close to that $30 mark, I think it's going to be hard to break above that. But if we do, then 45 maybe. That's just not enough of a return for me. Over the next, I think that this is probably the return over the next 3 to 6 months, maybe year. And so I don't know if that's enough. I like the asymmetric bets where, I could get, 200, 300% returns over that same time frame. ARKG, speaking of asymmetric bets, I know people are shitting on Cathie Wood today. Something about how she was, they're like, okay, that's a weird flex. And it was because she was talking about how they're going to have a lot of capital losses that they can carry out for years. But that actually is a benefit to them. So, you can laugh at it, but it's a benefit. And now we're in a market with increased global liquidity, of which I need to talk about Michael Howell's video, but I'll probably save that for next time. But again, this thing, for me to make a couple $1 million, I think it would be, or at least $1 million, it would just need to get up to like 50. So it needs to go up like 90% in, a year and a half. And I make 10x, 15x. So I think that's a good investment. Flux, I don't know what Flux did today. Hey, Rex, you still here? If you're here, can you tell me what Flux did today? It was down 13%, but it's up 0.4 or 4% in after hours. I think it's just so tiny. The market cap is $64 million. Average volume, it says, is 108,000. So I don't know. I think it's just a normal fluctuation for such a tiny ass stock, personally. And let me see. I'll throw up DLO. Oh, let me get BITF too. I did forget that one, didn't I? But let me do DLO. DLO, I think it's still finding a bottom. Again, this is like a knockoff Mercado Libre, I believe. Anyway, I do think we're grinding. We got this like almost tweezer bottom here. We got this like flat zone. This thing is down 89% from its high. Unless there's like some foulness with corruption in this company, I think it can jump. There's this gap all the way up here. And this Latin American stock, if that area of the world is, or I should say they're in a bunch of emerging markets, Latin America, Africa, and more. But if these things start to do better, not China, but if these things start to do better, I think this can take off. So we'll see We'll see if that's a right play. I've got less than like maybe half a percent, maybe 1/3%. It's super tiny, so I don't care too much either way. All right, let me see here. BITF. I said I'd do that one, and then I'll start looking at chat. Sorry, guys. Kane Kavyaski, huge Tesla fan, by the way. Just wondering your opinion. You said it's free energy plays out. How do you see this affecting oil and gas prices? It's weird. It's weird. You would think that they would drop, but it'll become lesser and lesser of a market. There's still demand for oil, for products, right? So that will help it a lot. Gas, I mean, it's going to be used for some things. There'll be like some lubricants and things that get used, but you'll see a significant drop in demand. But as there's less facilities available, we might actually see the cost kind of remain high as they're downsizing. I don't know. It could get weird. It'll have weird supply-demand dynamics. But the cost of energy going to zero, Tesla's going to be the primary benefactor the entire way down. So that will be a good thing for them. Let me pull up BITF. All right, so BITF, again, it had a decent day. It went up 9.5%. It's sad, that's like not a big number, but when some of them were doing almost 30, but it's still a good number. It's almost double digits. But I could see this, again, we've been finding support here since early June of 2024. It's above the 200 weekly moving average. It's above the 50, the 100. It's got all these working as a force to try and drive it higher. So I could see that happening. I could see it bringing it higher. I don't know how I got to optimism, but optimism, wow. Talk about a tweezer bottom off of support. Peak volume right here. Never stayed a full candle underneath of it. Tweezer bottom. This is a rocket ship to the moon on optimism. A lot of the shit coins that are decent probably look that way, though. All right, let me see what else we got for comments here. I'm trying to see. How about TSL as a hold if Tesla contracts are too expensive? Yeah, I was saying that's fine. Let's see, TSLL is a 2x. Yeah, so that's a 2x multiplier. So yeah, that works. You just have to realize that there's a time decay, just like options, right? Here's the deal, says CleanSpark. If you haven't already, just jumped in. I did do it already. It looks great. But yeah, I did do it. I think I did it. Yeah, I did it. So maybe go back in the video a little bit. Kane, I agree. Strange dynamic. Thanks for the response. I agree. Also, Tesla wins in the end. They win on all this stuff. It's just insane how well they're going to do. It's really crazy. And thank you for everybody that joined today or gave free memberships or tipped or whatever. You guys are really appreciated. If you guys could, while you're here, a bunch of people have already left. I should probably do this earlier. If you could hit the like button, it is appreciated. And any comments after the video help too. Alitech, everybody making some money today. Love to see it. Oh, that's my buddy Alejandro. Yeah, he's a stud. Yeah, dude, it's been a good day, bro. Silas, do you think Upstart has any good proprietary AI? I know the stock has been maddening. Upstart. So that's a good question. Let me just look at their finances real quick, because if I remember correctly, pretty sure I don't like Upstart, but I look at so many stocks, I have to refresh my memory. Yeah, so again, obviously these guys have not done good in a while, and that is because of rates, right? So they had some really strong growth heading into 2021, and then the rate cuts happened, and it just really fucked them. Volumes are still really slow. I don't know what they have, man, but they're just losing money. 64 million net income loss in a quarter, and you only made 127, and you're losing, half that number. Negative cash flow most of the time, high debts, losing cash and bonds. Operating expenses aren't going down, they're going up, even though their number of loans is going down, and their transaction volume's going down, and their revenues are going down, and their shares are they're basically issuing more shares. DroneShield, yeah, I can check what that is. I don't know what that is, but I'll look. So I don't know. I don't love it. I don't think it's a great company. Their guidance isn't that great, and the forward PE is 44, so it could honestly go fucking lower. It's probably not the answer that you want, but it's the one I think you need. Heinz in. I nibbled on buying PayPal too. Yeah, PayPal has been a pain pal. But you know what? So this is a shitty company, or I should just say it's been fucked by circumstance and maybe being shitty too. I don't know. But look at PayPal. Now the active customer count hasn't really gone anywhere. So let's ignore that for now, though. Revenue segments, though, have been going up, and especially when we look at this yearly. So you can see the active customer count kind of died. They were on autopilot for years. They were really mismanaged, right? But Alex Chris is not that guy. But look at this. Total payment volume going up. Transaction margins going down. That's a bad thing, but I think that's going to turn around. Cash flow is still ridiculously positive. Their net income for last quarter was $4.2 million. These guys have a forward PE of 14. It is almost a third of what Upstart was. And yet they have tons of fucking cash, and look at how much they've been buying back. Look at this. Look at the amount of shares and how they're falling off a cliff. And this is 2023. This isn't even including what we're doing in 2024, right? So you have this massive reduction in supply of their stock. You have increasing revenues, increasing net income, increasing ability to even reduce the amount of shares more. And they're bringing their operating expenses down. They're doing a good job with their debt management. And I think I think they sandbagged for the year. And so I think that they're going to overshoot a lot of targets and they're going to outperform. And again, it's not even including like all the advertising stuff that they're trying to do. They're ambitious. I don't know if they're going to strike on everyone, but I think I'm still going to make money off of PayPal. And considering I've been wrong on the timing for well over a year, that would be impressive. If I can be wrong on the timing of PayPal for almost 15 months and still make money, well, that in the options world is a fucking miracle. Now, again, there's a bunch of other metrics here. I won't go through all of them, but I do think that there is some ability for it to do better. Silas, the truth doesn't care about your politics. That's true. Hunting, hopefully I said that right. A whole lot of idiots who can't listen to different opinions and data shown themselves recently. Keep being yourself, Jesse. Love the content. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Heinz in Hillbilly Elegy DJ movie on NF. Oh, is that the guy you're talking about? What's his name, right? The new VP. Anyway, Silas, PayPal has been so tedious, but I bought it before I encountered Jesse. Good, not my fault. DJ can't hear. Oh, that was from earlier. Hillbilly Elegy is a 2020 American drama film directed by Ron Howard from a screenplay by Vanessa Taylor. It's based on the 2016 memoir of the same name by J.D. Vance. Oh, cool. DJ, that was the bad sound for our buddy. Let me see what else we got here. Scrolling down. Kumar says, bro, how have you been? My membership got canceled. Okay, cool. Thanks for coming back, dude. Christopher Federal said, we all start out as Bitcoin doubters. He's talking about Larry Fink. I agree. Let me see here. What Larry said can also be interpreted as BTC is better than gold when shit hits the fan. And he's like literally said that. You're right, Albert. Paul Hoger says, please check DroneShield LTD. All right, so let me see if I can even find this in here because that's a pretty unique name. Do you know the ticker for DroneShield that you want me to check? It's a weird name. Let me try and refresh here and make sure this is working right. Any new position soon? I don't know. Maybe. I'm not really looking at anything. Let me look. Okay, so I'm going to pick the stock here and see if I can find this DroneShield thing you're talking about. Yeah, I look for new positions all the time. Like Matterport was probably the last one that did really well. Yeah, that was probably the one that did the best. Oh, here, that didn't work. Let me just do this. Let me go back here. Make a copy. James talking about PayPal and crypto today. He likes it. James from Invest Answers does. Is that who you're talking about? DroneShield. Let me know. PayPal is considered stale and old tech by many. This is a psychological hurt. Yeah, you know what fixes that? Making a bunch of money. Making a bunch of money would fix it. All right. DroneShield. Let me see if I can find what the fuck. Oh, there it is. DRO. Okay, cool. Now maybe I can find it. Jesus Christ. What happened here? It was a 16-cent stock, and it's now 260. It's turned into a $1.78 billion company. This is what we call a parabolic S-curve. Or not even an S-curve. Well, it will be. It'll probably just roll over. This is parabola, guys. This is crazy. I wouldn't own anything that's done this. I would sell it personally. I will look at... Let me just try this. I mean, maybe by some miracle it can go to 6, but we're already so overextended here. It's ridiculous. And we will start, we haven't seen it yet, but we should start to see bearish momentum on the RSI and the MACD. Now, maybe this is warranted. Maybe DRO is a great company. Let me see if I can look that up in here. And don't forget, guys, next week, next Tuesday, we're going to have Tesla earnings and Enphase and Google and some others. It's going to get interesting. All right, so I don't have DRO in here, so I can't judge it too much from the financial side. Alejandro, if you could confirm where that is and if that could be added, that would be great. Drew S. says, thoughts on TLT for internet rate reduction trade. I haven't looked at TLT in a while, actually. I think I want to do that. So let's pull it up. Now, I don't know. I don't know when this is a good trade. It could be a while. I'm not in a rush for this trade. I'm not in a rush. I know it seems like it should just fucking bounce. And we could get better. I don't know. Maybe I need to think about this more. We're definitely in a... I don't know. It could be like, my worry is that we're in an early PayPal stage where maybe it breaks out and then it goes down and then it breaks out and then it goes down. I don't know. I don't know when bonds start to perform again. I don't know. I guess it's when America really starts to take off and our debt burden starts to look better and maybe we're getting, higher growth through GDP. But I do think that once Bitcoin does really good and Tesla does really good over the next year plus, I will be looking at trades like this more closely as a hedge kind of, and just an additional opportunity to potentially make some money, because I don't think America's falling apart yet. I know there's a lot of people in the Bitcoin world that want to believe that. But they also think China's doing good, and I know that's fucking stupid. And I've been saying that forever. I'm holding Cypher at 427, but don't have much. You know what? Next time I do this too, I'm going to give you guys better target layouts for where I see things going. DroneShield is the stock you give to your spouse during a divorce that is not amicable. I don't know what that means, but okay. Is it that bad? No, I don't know. But it's done really well. I mean, that's parabolic. This is stupid. This is stupid. Like, this is great. If you bought this at the lows of the pandemic when it was 84 cents and now it's $2.60, you're happy, right? Like, life doesn't suck. All right. Ooh, okay. Oh, somebody said something about PayPal. It was about those, I think, the shitty contracts, the old ones. But it fucking went away. Let me see if I can find it. CNY, too much of a fiat to fall apart. Skip that. Talked about that. Configure quality of service, update router, probably not a bad idea. Yeah, I think all that was done. I think it is set to with QoS, but I can double check. My router, actually, the router I'm using, the main one, didn't change. I mean, there's the cable modem, and then there's the gigabit or a multi-gigabit switch that you have to get to be able to work with it. There's just a lot of shit. But maybe it is on my end. Prabhat. I'm holding... Oh, no, wait, I saw that one. Let me see. PayPal. Is Bitcoin the next Bitcoin? Is Tesla the next Tesla? Yes. Is he adding the middle figure hood ornament on the Robotaxis? I don't know. He should. Prabhat. I'm holding calls for PayPal 140 at January 2025. I don't know what made you buy those. No, I'm kidding. What should I do with them, Jesse? As I don't think these will material. Well, here's the deal. I'm not a financial advisor. And if you bought these listening to me, I'm sorry. But personally, here's what I'm doing, right? Like, I haven't sold any of those. I have all of them. They're not in great shape. They're down 92.59%. But here's the thing. If you've already lost all the money, leave it alone. I actually believe that PayPal is getting ready to rocket higher. And I believe that we could see numbers over short periods of time where maybe PayPal gets to at least 83. I would at least wait until 73 or at least 83 before I sold them. Because I think it'll happen over a very fast period of time. I would use that momentum to get the fuck out. Because people will speculate on those because they're cheap. So maybe that's when you get out of it. Personally, that's what I would do. All right, I think somebody else paid maybe for a ticker that they wanted me to look at. Let me just see here. Net. All right, so this might be the last one I do, guys, just because I want to chill. I got some food to eat. I want to hang out with my kid and my wife. So let me see if I got Net on here. Nope, got Netflix. Let me make a copy. Try and read through chat while I'm doing this too. So yeah, I might need to do some of these other tickers. Also, when I publish the videos, I put that on X. So if you see that during the day, I would highly encourage you to click on the link and then jump in here and add your note for which stock you want me to look at. Because again, if you're a verified user and you can talk in here, then you can ask for a stock pick and I will give it to you. All right, anyway, let me pull this up. Let's see what Net is. Oh, Cloudflare, cool. All right, so let me see here. I might have to do this real quick. Let me see where I should draw these lines. March 2020, easy. I think I had this before, so I need to make sure I save it right. So it's down here at the bottom, March 2020. It's a great time to establish the base for your starting point on your trend-based fib extension. Now I'm going to push this out more. Looks good. Lock that up. All right, so we're above the 200, we're above the 50, we're above the 100 on the weekly moving average. So we're really establishing a base above all of that. We've got all the peak volume underneath of us. This feels good. Let's see how the company's doing, but I would think we'd be testing to the 105, between 105 and 118 soon. After, maybe we consolidate above this for a minute because the 50 is going to start pushing up. So I would think that we do this soon, and then maybe we test, the 144 and even all the way up to the 200 range. But it's going to be very dependent upon how good this company does. And so let's look at what their guidance is and look at what they've been doing and look at what they've been valued at so that we can try and figure that out. So revenue growth year over year is 30%. We don't hate that. The PE is 130. A little rich. A lot of tech companies are rich right now. But you can see total paying customers, direct customer service, revenues, retention rate. All these things look pretty good. The thing I don't love is the net income. We're still growing at the expense of shareholders because we're printing stock every once in a while, not a ton, but we're printing stock. And then operating expenses are not really scaling well, in my opinion. I would like to see them table off. But we are getting positive cash flow. We lost $35 million last quarter off of $378 in revenue. It's not a horrible number, but again, the PE isn't great. Let's see what insiders are doing. Insiders were selling more than buying in 2020, and we've seen like nothing since. Short interest isn't too high. It's not like they're in danger. Let's see estimates. So their estimates are positive EPS for the next 3 quarters. EBIT down, but revenue up and growing to 455. I mean, it looks... These guys just have to start making more money. Like keep growing and then get your net income positive. They're still diluting stock too. So they're very much in a growth phase. Their stock is 18.5% of revenue. So they're still doing a lot of dilution, but there's a lot of metrics in here. This looks really good on visual stocks. But I would say they're probably a little bit overvalued. So maybe we bounce between this zone for a while would be my guess until we see some numbers that really start to print. All right, guys. I think that's it. I think I'm done. I think I'm going to take a breather. Banana 3 still obsessed with MBLY. Can MBLY be Tesla, be what Samsung is to Apple? You know what? Maybe I'll look at that real quick. Let me just go over here. Oop, my bad. Yeah, Banana's a pretty smart guy. I like him. He reminds me a lot of my self as far as like just the way he thinks. Not that I'm super smart. I was just comparing him to me because I'm smart. I am pretty smart, actually. I'm really fucking brilliant when it comes to finance. Other things, I'm completely retarded. But Mobileye, wow, their revenue's crashing and their net income sucks. And they've got a lot of cash. But here's the thing. Everybody's going to license Tesla. Tesla doesn't need Mobileye. I just don't know, man. I don't see anything positive about this stock. It's just kind of flat. And what is it? It's a 73 PE, her forward PE. Revenue growth, negative 48% year over year. What is their revenue? Their revenue was $239 for Q1 of 2024. This just doesn't look like a winning company to me. It looks like a failing company. It's failing slowly. And maybe it'll do okay. I don't know. I don't know why you'd want to... I don't know. I don't know why you'd want to bet on this. I don't know the company well enough, though, outside of articles and things that I've read and research that I've done. But it's been a long time since I really paid attention to Mobileye. But this doesn't even look like a good technical line. This looks like anything. Looks like it's spending all of its time down here. So from a technical end, this looks like almost like an inverse W. Like, you know how you call something a W bottom? Looks like a double top. Or, again, if we just invert this, doesn't that look, I don't know, doesn't that look like it's going to break out higher? Like it's trying to break out higher? It established support here, right? It established support on previous resistance. And then now it looks like it's trying to break higher. And so if it's trying to break higher, then what it's actually doing when we invert this back is break lower. I wouldn't own this. That's my 2 cents, man. Love Banana 3. He seems like a good dude. But yeah, LiDAR is bullshit. And yeah, even Xpeng, dude, the CEO rode in a Tesla and he's like, fuck, okay, we're not doing that anymore. We're not doing LiDAR. So anyway, all right, love you guys. Hope you got something out of today, and I'm going to go enjoy my life a little bit. So I'm going to give you some music to listen to, but just remember, patience pays off. Everybody, I should actually show you this. Let me see, do I have this on here? Let's see, X. Yeah, so here's something I want you to look at, okay? So, and this isn't like, I don't know, I don't care. But here's what I was getting for likes and impressions at the end of the year. This is when everything was going well, right? Everything is going well. Everybody likes me. I get millions of impressions a day. This is what happened in May. Now, don't get me wrong. I also kind of took a hiatus and didn't post as much. Starting to go back up again, but I will say I didn't reduce, at least on X. I did it on YouTube, but on X I didn't reduce that much. But this is what happens. Like, people stop listening when you're not making a bunch of money that instant. And what they need to understand is, are you going to be right in the future? And so I would highly suggest that you don't just grade investors and people's input based upon how they've done over shorter periods of time. I made 700% last year, and then I was down 30% this year. But now I'm even, and maybe even borderline plus. We'll see what happens tomorrow, right? But 700% is a big fucking number. But when everybody disappears, I mean, some of you guys didn't. Some of you guys are, the people. A lot of the people that are listening right now are pretty loyal, but don't disappear just because things don't play out for a few months and you get frustrated. These are the times where you have to lean in and really work to understand. And so if you don't feel super confident about something, try and figure out how to be smarter about it, how to learn more about it. Listen to some YouTube videos, listen to an Audible, find an expert. It's so easy to take people like brilliant people like Lynn Alden, Michael Howe. And again, some of these people are hard to understand, but like, take them, listen to them, spend time with them, understand the subject matter better, because you don't want to disappear when things are bad. You don't want to. You want to figure out when things are going to be good again. And so if I could encourage anything, it would be that. It's that you got to play the long game. You got to be ready for some pain and some suffering, because good days come. Again, my stock portfolio sucked. And now I basically for the last year and a half, a little over a year and a half, let's say 19 and a half months, my return has been 700%. I would still say that's fucking stellar. And by the end of this year, I'm expecting that to be closer to 1,400% in 2 years. So if you like those kind of gains, not that they can always be reproduced, but I think they will be over the next year, pay attention and participate. And don't run away when things get scary. Because everybody that I've seen do that, they get fucked. And I feel bad. There's people that were here in this journey of mine early last year when I just started to do it. And they were good people, and they're just not here anymore. And it makes me sad. So don't be the person that overextends themselves. Don't be the person who doesn't take time. Oh, let me skip this ad. I don't want people to get ads right now. Just don't fuck yourself and overextend yourself and get like balls deep into options when you don't understand them. Like options are a tool. I might not even use options after maybe 6 months from now. I might be completely out of them. You never know. It depends on what happens with the market. I don't use them all the time. I could go a year or two without them. So just learn and don't overextend yourself and don't run away, because if you do that, you're really fucked. And diversify your risk. You know, that's why I've got a mixed portfolio, is because I want to make sure that I can make money and that everything isn't going to fall apart. So do that too. Anyway, I love you guys. I've ranted enough for a day. Tyler says, hey, Jesse, wanted to say a big thank you. I'm up over 120% after 3 months of investing at 22. That's kick-ass, dude. Congrats. Started under 5,000 now, almost to 10, and this is only the start. Your advice has helped me a bunch. Man, if you're 22, learn everything you can about investing. It will change the direction of your life, and it will let you potentially do whatever you want to do with your time. So put in the effort, man. That's great. That's fucking awesome. I didn't do enough of that, and then I ran away. When I didn't win, I ran away, and I didn't have a mentor. YouTube wasn't really a thing back when I started investing. So it's a long time ago, but yeah, there's so many resources for you guys now. So many brilliant fucking people. So listen to them and learn and enjoy life and make a bunch of money, and then do what you want to do with the people you love around you. And that's what I would highly encourage everybody to do. Otherwise, again, have a great day, guys. Love you very much. Peace out.
Is that clear?
Oh, next song.
What do you do with the Bitcoin besides it just gather value?
Real estate developers in New York City, they're not buying the real estate because they want to live in it.
But like most of the people who are buying assets at some point want to sell the assets at a profit.
People that use fiat currency as a store of value, we call them poor. We call them poor. People that use fiat currency, we call them poor. We call them poor. We call them poor. We call them poor. There's a name for them. We call them poor. We call them poor. Okay? Right, like, the point is, if you have the superior asset, it's going up forever, Laura. Forever.
Right, I mean, we can all look Bitcoin sort of as...
Forever, Laura. People that use fiat currency as a store of value, we call them poor. We call them poor. People that use fiat currency, we call them poor. We call them poor. We call them poor. We call them poor. There's a name for them. We call them poor. 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 Okay?